What's up, everybody? Today we're chilling with Sean Izaakse, comic artist for Marvel. Also a really cool friend of Comic Con Africa. He's been with us from the beginning. He's got the heart. He's got the passion for this for everything comics, and I think it literally runs through his veins because he's got a tattoo of SpiderMan on his arm. So Sean, brother.
Hey, good man. Thanks for inviting me and you just hanging out in general, man. Like it's been a while since I've seen other people to talk to and stuff. So that's cool.
Awesome, Sean. So obviously, everybody knows you. They've seen you at conventions. They've seen your work. We know a lot about you already, from all your work that you've shown us and the amazing stuff that you've done, right? So tell us, Sean, where did it all begin?
Sure. I mean, I'm sure people have heard the story fucking tons of times already. And like it's just from when I was a kid, man. My parents were into comic books, and I kind of walked past a comic rack and a spinner rack, and I just like I think it was either Superman or Spider-Man, like those primary colors that would obviously draw kids in and stuff.
Yeah.
My parents just sort of fed the fuel to that, and like every week I'd go to different corner stores and raid the spinner racks for more and more comics. So like I've got pictures I drew when I was like 3 years old and 5 years old of Spider-Man and Superman and Batman. So like it's been part of my DNA since I was very little. I remember in primary school, I used to take, there was John Romita Senior Spider-Man comics that I had, and I would sit and try and read raw panels that were in there, like in the back of class during like art time and stuff like that. So it's always been something I've wanted to do, and like it only really happened for me like in my later years and stuff, because like out of necessity, really, kind of things only like I did comics like corporate comics and comics with friends and some local things on like after work, during my work when I was working normal regular hours. But I only really started getting my break in comics and putting all my effort into it when I lost my job in 2010. And then I just had to make it happen. So like getting retrenched was the best thing that happened to me, basically.
I was just gonna say, like, out of the ashes of like bad news, you think arose this passion that you're talking about now. And I think like a lot of times, like, I mean, if we look at the current times that we're in, right, a lot of people look at the situation and be like, dire times, no job, and then like something like what you pointed out now could come out of this as well for fans in current situations now, or creators or artists now.
No, I mean, for sure. Like I remember like the day we got let go, like it was me and I think 20 other people. I think it was 21 or 23 people that got let go that day. Like the company they were not great. I'm not gonna name them, but they weren't great. And the way they handled it, they kind of like management just kind of went quiet and went like socializing with anybody anymore for like 2 weeks, and everybody's like, managers are usually like sitting outside of this and having lunch, and now they're nowhere around. Something's up. And then all of a sudden, like it was like a Wednesday. Like no, they had a meeting, and they're like, no, the company's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine. If something's wrong, we'll tell you.
Yeah.
So we're like, yeah, okay. And then on the Wednesday, they started having meetings, like calling people individuals in to meetings. And I don't know why, but I was the very first one that freaking asked like this, and hey, can you please come into this office? We want to have a meeting with you. And everybody's like, what's that about? And I'm like, I have no idea. And I went in there, and they're like, well, so listen, Friday's your last day. We're letting a lot of people go, and go to like, we can only give you half a month's salary, and you can take us to the CCMA and try and get more out of us, but then the company will go, and then you won't get any money anyway. And I know that's like the company's fine now from what I've seen, and I know that like they just handled it poorly. So I left there, and I was like, so hey guys, Friday's my last day. Everybody's like, what? And then they walk in, they're like, sorry, can this person come in, and they just started taking people in and letting people go. And it's funny because like they kept all the sales staff, that the design department, which was where I was at, there was 8 people there. They literally let go 6 of them, and they kept 2 people, and all of us were busy. All of us were busy with work, and so I left there going like, I kind of feel sorry for the 2 people that I left, because they've got to now do work of 8.
All their work, Well, Sean, I think,
then like,
to be honest,
after that, no, and then after that, like, obviously everybody's very upset and they're riled up and they've got bills to pay and family to feed. And I just said to myself, like, the universe is doing this because it wants me, it knows I'm not happy here, and it wants me to get off my butt and do things.
I mean, like, I'll be honest, I think all your fans and everybody else out there that's seen what you're capable of doing and seen the amazing work that you've done, we should be grateful for those for what they've done. I mean, yes, obviously at the time you were like, what the heck's going on? But for me, I'm grateful for what they've done, because it gave you the opportunity to obviously grow as an artist and then to expound into this. I mean, the stuff that you've done is so amazing. And obviously those opportunities arose because of that situation.
No, I did. It was the best thing that happened to me, but it was just. But you have to look at it in a positive light and take all that energy and all that anger, like, that you want to express, and kind of put it into something positive. And I know that's easier said than done. A lot of people, like artists, have a lot more, like, a lot of avenues, but like in a situation like that, there's so many people that are kind of forced to, or settle, like they get into a job that they don't really like, but it pays well. You know, just, I've got a job, thank goodness. And like, now when you have the time, because you can't work and stuff, what's that one job that you always wanted to do as a kid, or you wanted to do growing up? Like, whatever free time you have, study it or make it or whatever, you know. Like, maybe in these times it kind of takes off, and you can be like, well, I can do something more.
Yeah. Wow, Sean, I think I love how real you've been, because I think that's what people want to know, and that's what people want to hear from you. They don't want to know about all the good times. They don't just want to know how successful everything's been, but it's important to also just bring to light the reality of the situation and how it all started, right? So I know you're very active on social media, and I think specifically on Twitter, right? I know you recently tweeted about making a wish list of artists and writers to in your top 3, right? Tell us about that and why.
Oh, why I made the list?
Yeah.
No, I mean, like as often I'll be talking. I mean, like, it's still. I mean, I've been doing Marvel work now, going on 4 years, right? And like, it's still surreal to me that there are people whose comic books I collected when I was like freaking 19 years old, who I can now say are my friends, because we talk regularly, and you know, they give me advice and they say they like my work, and like, it kind of still feels very surreal to me. Like, I don't believe that this is happening. I mean, I was talking to, like, I often talk to Patrick Zurcher on Twitter as well. And I remember like entering a Wizard magazine competition, because they always had like a little art section that people would send artwork in, right? And I still remember entering a Wizard art competition, and my prize, the prize that I got for winning, like, I entered twice. Once I came in, I won, and then next time I was a honorable mention. And the prize that I won, strangely enough, was I got 2 comics and a trading card. The trading card was like a motion trading card of Two-Face flipping his coin. So if you turned it, you'd see the coin flip, and he would turn the face and stuff.
Oh, wow.
That was pretty cool. And then I got 2 comics as well. I got the one was, I can't remember which issue number it was, but I remember the cover. It was new. It was a New Warriors issue, drawn by Patrick Zurcher, and it had like an hourglass on the cover. So it had like it's almost like there was like an hourglass, and the New Warriors were kind of trapped in the hourglass, and it would glow in the dark. The cover would glow in the dark. And like I got that comic, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And now, like, I talk to the guy like regularly on Twitter, and I consider us friends. The other comic I got was, also can't remember the freaking issue number right now, but it was the one where Hal Jordan became Parallax. So it's like
Oh yes.
it's
Yeah.
the one where he's like kind of flying forward, and there's like the Green Lantern emblem behind him, and it also glowed in the dark. Like I got those two comics, and I think if I'm not mistaken, Daryl Banks drew that cover. I could be wrong. Sorry, Daryl, if I'm wrong, but I think so. And like me and Daryl got to like share a table and become friends at Baltimore Comic Con last year.
Crazy.
So it's still like surreal to me. Like I sit there, and I just gush over these people. Like I try to be cool when I'm around them, because I'm like, because they're like, oh, we're peers, and I'm like, no, we're not peers, no, not at all. I'm like, I'm down here. You're still. On the outside, I try to make it seem like okay, everything's cool, but inside, I'm like, I'm just like gushing and screaming all the time. So the reason I made the list, I'm sorry, I went completely off topic. So the reason I made the list is just because I talk to all these people, and like I just have this urge to create things with all of them, and like it's taking time, and I'm not getting to get to everybody, but I'm hoping in my career, as long as it is, I'll get to work on them. I know Kelly Thompson and me have tried several times to try and line up schedules to work on something, and I'm gonna still keep on trying. So she's like on my list. There's a lot of colorists who I'd love to see what they do on my work, and just like writers and stuff. I mean, like both for Marvel and for DC. Like that's why I made the list in the way I made it, because I was like, these are the guys I would like to work on with these characters, because I think we could make some really cool stuff together. And I said both Marvel and DC characters, because like I have a love for all of them. Like I love comics. I'm not one of those fans that's like, I'm in the Marvel camp, so I can't like DC, or I'm in the DC camp, I can't like Marvel. Like I grew up loving both. Some years I'd read more Marvel comics than DC, and other years I read more DC than Marvel. But at the end of the day, I'd like to play in everybody's sandbox, and even just create new stuff, create your own stuff for these guys, because like I love all the people I put on there. Like I love their work so much, and I just enjoy it so much. So I mean, hopefully I get to work with everybody.
Yeah, I think that's the coolest part of it, is that you show your heart in what you do as well. And I think you're not just a creator, but you're a fan as well. Got another cool question for you, right? What made you decide on getting your SpiderMan tattoo? Right, number one, what made you decide on it, and why did you choose Gabriel Delato's work for that?
Oh man, so like I was stewing over. I've been wanting to get a comic book tattoo for, I don't know, maybe 15 years now. But I never knew which way. Like it changed. Like when year I went and I was like, no, I want to get comic book panels, and then it's like, which comic book panels, and then how much detail do I put into those? Like the thing is, I've seen like a lot of tattooists whose work are really, really good, except when it comes to comic book work. And because I'm an artist myself, and like if I pick someone's art, like it's like if a line is wrong, it'll haunt me forever, kind of thing. So I was always worried that like if I pick something too detailed, like a Jim Lee piece, like they'll get some lines not perfect, and it'll annoy the crap out of me. So I had to pick something that was detailed enough to look good, and also not too detailed that if something is slightly off, it's not going to grate me. So it went from like picking panels to picking characters to which artists. Like, do I pick the iconic artists? Like I went through so many. I even got Brian Stelfreeze to draw me a Spidey as well, that I was considering. And like there's the John Romita one, and who else? I even considered Todd McFarlane one, obviously. Stuart Immonen's my favorite comic book artist ever. So I considered his. Mark Bagley is like the ultimate Spider-Man artist. So like I love his Spider-Man work kind of really pulled me into comics. And I was just like, I don't know. And like I ended up settling on Gabriel Dell'Otto, because like especially the piece. The piece comes from like a graphic novel,
Yeah.
and where you find out that Peter has a sister, and like there was just something about it. Like it's a very different kind of Spider-Man. Like he doesn't draw the big eyes. He draws them like a little bit more slanted and kind of mean
Yeah.
looking. The pose that I chose as well was just like it had all the iconic things. Okay, but like Spider-Man is the king of crotch shots because everybody draws him like fucking spread legs and I was just like I kind of wanted that, but I didn't want a giant crotch shot either.
Yeah.
So the image I chose was thankfully like a top-down view. So he's still doing his trademark kind of split legs, but the crotch is in your face because his head is there. And he has the trademark flip kind of pose with his hand. But also there's something else about Gabriel Duarte's that harkens back to like the like 1978 Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
I think it's 78, somewhere around there. There was that Spider-Man Strikes Back, and there was like a couple of other Spider-Man movies back then. And there's just like that costume. There was just something about it that I love a lot. Like the webbing was just very thin. Like when it was drawn on the costume, it was very thin. So like whenever you see, you could spot him in any scene because the colors were just so bright, and the red was like was really saturated, and it looked really cool. And there's something about that Gabriel Duarte's Spidey that reminds me of that.
Yeah.
As well. So that's why I kind of decided that. There's all those factors which I was like, listen, this is why I'm picking this one. And then I went to Fallen Heroes, and there's in Parkhurst, and there's an artist there called Tace.
Yeah.
He's a friend of mine, and he also loves comics. So like I said, like I want a comic book tattoo, and he said, listen, I've got to do it. And it was really cool because I know that he really respects the medium. He respects the characters. He knows how important these characters are to people. And I sat with him for 5 hours to do the Spidey, and it came out awesome. Like there's a lot of people that came in and they're like, I don't like comic tattoos, but this looks great. Yeah. And a lot of people keep coming to me and being like, it looks like a sticker. Like they keep on trying to pull it off, and I'm like, no, it's like, that's how it is.
It's real.
Yeah, exactly. And so now I've kind of decided that I want to get more characters added to it. So I've picked an Iron Man piece.
Nice.
I just at the time of my booking, I was a little kind of overwhelmed with work. Financially, I wasn't in a great place. So I was just like, listen, guys, I can't get it now. I'll have to get it a bit later. So the next piece is going to be an Iron Man piece. And then after that, I've found a Batman one. The Batman one's going to probably go on my shoulder. I found like 2 or 3 Batman ones, and I'm trying to narrow it down between those two.
The tough decisions.
Yeah, at least I've narrowed it down to like 3. You know, because the one Batman one is by Jim Chung. Because I'm a massive Robin fan. Like back when Dick Grayson was Robin. So the one is just plain Batman. Almost in like a black and white. It's just kind of shapes. It'll look super, super great. But then the Jim Chung one has a really cool Tim Drake Robin on it. And then there's another one, I think, by Dan Mora that I really like as well. But I mean, we'll have to see which. I'll probably take a photo and then just sit and Photoshop it on my arm and
on your arm.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get like DC guys sort of on the top arm, and I'm gonna get some more Marvel characters on the bottom.
Yeah,
that's sort of the plan, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So I know you're obviously very passionate about Spider-Man specifically, right? So I got a bit of a random question that just came to mind. Who's your favorite Spider-Man currently of all the actors?
In the movies.
In the movies, yeah.
Oh, in the movies, Tom Holland for sure.
Yeah.
So like, I love Spider-Man 2 because the Doc Ock, and it's just kind of like you dive into it. It's such a great movie. It's well done. I wasn't always a big fan of Tobey Maguire. Like he made me too sad most of the time.
Okay.
He didn't have the quips that Spidey was good at, and he didn't have that. But that particular movie, that Spider-Man 2, was freaking awesome. It's up there as far as Spider-Man movies go.
Yeah.
uh, and so that's Tobey Maguire, and then Andrew Garfield. So Andrew Garfield was great. He was a great Peter. I wasn't a big fan of the Spider-Man costume. He looked like he was wearing a basketball that was like kind of cut up and pasted onto his thing. It just always, like, I looked at it and I'm like, it wasn't bright. You couldn't spot him in scenes.
Yeah.
It always looked really dirty. It looked dirty. It looked like it literally looked like a basketball that you'd be playing with, and then like kind of stuck it onto his suit. So it looked very dirty. I wasn't a big fan of it. And he was a great Peter. He was a great Peter, except he was way too cool to be Peter.
Yeah.
Like he had the cool hair, he had the skateboard. It's like, this isn't the nerd in school. This is the guy that all the chicks are like, oh my god, he's so dreamy. Like,
just not playful enough, right?
No, I mean he was hilarious. He was very funny. He had the quips. I had issues with the costume, and he was just too cool. But I mean, I loved the first movie. I loved the first one. It's still like Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 1 was still awesome. But for me, it's definitely Tom Holland. He's everything a young, like, I picture a young Peter. He's kind of awkward. He's kind of silly. He's really funny. He does the quips. The costume is so bright, like you can spot him in any scene, no matter how far he is. Because that's the thing about like a superhero movie. The superheroes have the primary colors because you need to be able to spot them in a scene, right? So like if you desaturate all the colors, and if there's a battle going on and I can't see who the hero is, you kind of lose me, you know.
Yeah.
So the costume, I love the costumes. I love how funny it is. One of the coolest things about the two Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland is that you could take all the costumes out, all the superhero stuff out, and I would still watch that movie.
Yeah.
Because it really is like a John Hughes flick, because you love these kids, they have these characters, they have these interactions that are just so natural and like you just kind of like, oh my god, they're so funny. Like, what are these kids going to get up to next? And I think that's sort of what makes it really cool for me. But like the superhero stuff is just a bonus when it happens, you know. So awesome. I can't wait for the next one. You know,
for the next one.
For like I've got to see him in like 4 movies, which is rad.
Yeah. Everybody knows you as an artist that puts pen to paper, right? But I recently saw that you painted Warhammer Bloodball miniatures as well. So tell us more about that passion. I think that's so different from the norm as well.
Oh, dude, I've just started, and it's not even like a Warhammer. It's Blood Bowl. Like, it's basically football, American football with freaking orcs and elves and dwarves and stuff. And so like there's a tabletop card game called Bloodball Team Manager, and I'm not really into sports like at all. You know, like I played soccer and a couple of other things, and I do archery. That counts. But like sitting around the table with my friends playing Bloodball Team Manager was so much fun. And then like my friends that play that with me are like, listen, there's the actual mini game where you have like a pitch and you play, and you have players that like level that like, you know, you have to buy and that get more skills. I was like, that's really cool. Yeah. So I said I'd like to dip my toe into that. So we had a couple of like practice sessions, and I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. And then I eventually kind of bought my own little team of like 12 little minis. Awesome. And I started putting like, oh man, and I chose the undead team, which was for a rookie a really bad idea, because these things, I thought that they came like fully in like one piece and you just take it out of the box and you can start playing it. But no, they come out and you have to assemble them. So like these skeletons with like these tiny little bone arms, and you have to glue the ends together. So you have to put glue on and then kind of just hold it until it sticks. So like it literally took me the one afternoon, like from I think it was like 11, 12 in the afternoon, and I think like 5, 6 o'clock I finished assembling the team together. Like, it was ridiculous. and then yeah, I got the paints and I started painting them. I haven't finished, but I made like a lot of mistakes, because you have to put like primer on before you put the paints on. And I put the primer, I was like, okay, do I spray it on? But no, I think painting is on better. And so I lost a lot of detail on the early ones.
Oh, no.
But it's fine. That's fine. Like, and then I started painting them, and I found it very therapeutic, because you kind of sit there and you're concentrating. mixing paints, and that was a lot of fun. I still haven't finished, and I've had it for like 6 months now, 4 months or whatever. Probably about 6 months. I haven't actually finished painting them yet, but it's just because I've been busy. But I'll get to it eventually. Also, like with lockdown, I can't go to my friend's house and we can't play anymore.
Yeah.
I know that they play online, but I prefer just being there and interacting with friends.
Yeah, traditional. Sean, tell us a bit more. I know obviously you might be open to doing commissions for fans who are watching this now. So tell us a bit more about your availability or how people will contact you for commissions and where they can find you.
Well, so my commissions are full at the moment. They're sort of filled out after like 2 days. So I've got 12 at the moment that I'm busy with. Finished the first one. I'm busy doing some comic pages, and then I'll dive into the next one probably over the weekend. So what's going to happen is once I finish these 12, I'll open up slots again. I usually open up about 10 slots, and I'm charging about $300 for up to 2 characters. They can have one, but I mean they get a bonus one if they want. So I've got some cool ones. I've got the next one I'm doing is Silver Surfer and Galactus. I have a Robin and Nightwing. I have a Nightwing and Batgirl. I have a Daredevil and Black Widow to do. So I got a lot of really fun ones to dive into. I got a Sasquatch and Puck from Alpha Flight. So I'm very excited to get to that one as well. As usual, I mean, if people need to look for me, like I don't have any weird handles and stuff online like some people. I just find for budding artists and stuff, always if you use your name, it's just easier for people to find you.
Keep it simple.
I keep it simple. If you want to find me, you just Google my name, and you'll probably see me in I've got a Tumblr which I never use, DeviantArt, which I visit once every 6 months.
Yeah.
But I'm mostly active on Instagram and Twitter, like under my name, just Sean Izaakse, at Sean Izaakse. But my Instagram is mostly pictures of my dog.
Nothing wrong at all. Nothing wrong with that. Sean, so what we'll do is we'll obviously drop all your links and everything in the socials below, in the comments, and people can find and get into contact with you there. Obviously start following you, get into contact. I know the nice thing about you, Sean, is that you're so passionate and you're always connecting with fans, always responding to messages. So I think everybody will start following you now. We'll push everybody to getting onto your stuff, onto your pages. But also, number one, thank you so much for the time. I know you're very busy. I know your schedules are always so packed, and thank you so much for making the time for us and for the fans.
No, I mean, of course, dude. I want to support everybody. Just kind of spreading the love, pay it forward. I'm busy. I've got there's some gifts I want to make for some people. It's just like people that have really helped me in my life as well. I can't wait to dive into those. And I think especially in this time of when people are locked down, maybe you can't go shopping for a lot of things. I think it's really nice if you just create a piece of I think everybody should just create a piece of art or create something and just give it to someone that they care about and just pass it on. You know what I mean? I think that's something cool.
Pay it forward.
Yeah, I kind of want to do something like that in the next couple of weeks as well.
Awesome, Sean. Thank you so much for your time. It was awesome. It's always cool to chat to you, and I think you always give such a nice insight and a nice light-hearted chat as well. Thank you so much, Sean.
Thanks, man. It was good. I miss you guys.
Miss you too, man. It's good to see your face.
Yeah, okay. I'm just thank goodness I managed to get my clippers to work so I could shave a bit. I had a bit of a freaking mountain man beard going here because I'm like, no one's going to see me anyway. It's fine. I can just let myself go. I'll fix it all up at the end.
Awesome, Sean. Thank you so much.
All right, buddy.
You guys.
Take it easy, man.
Cheers.